What's up, guys? It's Lefty here, back with another video, and Game 1 of the T-Wolves Nugget series starts on Saturday, and besides this being the most interesting series of the playoffs so far, in my opinion, I have a series bet that I really like, and I'm going to explain why I like it in this video. I bet the T-Wolves plus 180 to win the series, but I also have a game plan to bet them again if they lose Game 1. The adjusted series price, if they lose Game 1, will probably be around plus 300 or better. I know Denver easily took care of the T-Wolves in round 1 last year, so a logical question would be what's changed since last season? For one, Anthony Edwards is much better. Jaden McDaniels is healthy, and the Denver bench is much weaker this year. But before I break down the series and why I like the T-Wolves, I want to first explain how you should approach betting any type of future bet, which a series bet is technically a future bet. You're making a bet today on a future outcome rather than making a bet today and the result will happen today. The length of time can obviously vary on future bets, but in this case, between the T-Wolves and Nuggets series, it'll be decided within 2 weeks, most likely. Now, here's the thing. If I had to pick who wins this series, I'd actually pick the Nuggets. They're the defending champs. They have the most impactful player in the league with Joker, who is probably going to win MVP. But if I think Denver wins, why did I bet Minnesota to win the series? And the short answer is the price. When we look at the series odds, we see Denver is listed at minus 215 favorites, well, at DraftKings, and Minnesota's plus 180 underdogs. Betting on Denver at DraftKings means you'd have to risk 215 to win 100. Most books actually have Denver minus 220, so I'll use that number instead going forward. And using the old trusty betting network cheat sheet that's available to members of the Discord, we want to convert minus 220 to an implied probability, which gives us 68%. The sports books are basically saying the Nuggets win this series 68% of the time. I think that's too high. The plus 180 odds on Minnesota is saying they only win this series 35% of the time. Now, based on my numbers, I think the true probability is closer to Denver 60%, which would be them minus 150. And with a VIG free line of minus 150, that means I think Minnesota should also be plus 150. So betting them at plus 180, I think, holds value. And if you consistently make bets that you think have value, everything's going to work itself out over time. I'm not trying to predict the outcome of this series. And I'm going to repeat that. Me betting the series isn't me trying to predict the outcome. That's too hard of a thing to do. Anything can happen. Injuries to a key player, one team getting extremely hot shooting. There's no way to predict these variables. But if I'm consistently making bets on a team that I price the true odds to be plus 150 and can bet them plus 180, then over a large sample size, I'll end up ahead. This is the same idea with any bet, not just future bets either. Now, of course, you have to have a proven process that allows you to accurately price teams, but that's a whole other topic, which I do have lessons inside the Betting Network Discord community on how to create your own numbers in the NFL and NBA. Invite link to join is in the description below this video. Also worth noting, my price of the true odds of the series with Denver minus 150, Minnesota plus 150, is assuming both teams are at full strength. Minnesota's at full strength. Denver, however, is not. Murray is dealing with a calf injury. KCP got hurt last game. I do expect both of them to play, but Denver is definitely the more banged up team of the two. And this is pretty significant. In the playoffs, teams shorten up their rotation and lean heavily on starters or like a six-man rotation. The T-Wolves are probably the deepest team in the playoffs. They can go deep into their bench. I mean, they had Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who's their eighth guy off the bench, play 31 minutes in the closeout game versus Phoenix. And minutes in the playoffs have been in the fourth quarter so far. Not sure there's any other team who can play their eighth man big minutes in the crunch. Now, for Denver, it's the opposite. They have to keep their bench guys on a short leash, and the reason why is their bench is just terrible. Denver's bench averaged 11 points in 5 games versus the Lakers. Reggie Jackson, complete liability on one side of the floor. Watson is still very inexperienced. He can't really be trusted. Christian Braun, he's a defensive liability, even though his offense is getting better. The Denver lineup is pretty fragile, which is why Murray and KCP injuries could be tough to overcome. Now, a big advantage Denver has over teams is how physical they play. Minnesota matches up so well versus Denver's physicality. Wolves big, long, rangy defenders. Most teams that have size lack perimeter defense. That's not the case with Minnesota with Jaden McDaniels and Edwards, who can win those perimeter matchups. Now, members of the Discord have heard me say this countless times, especially when talking about the NFL. But you show me the team who wins the turnover battle, and I'll tell you who won the game. This goes for basketball as well, and turnovers have been an issue for Denver in games 2, 3, and 4, or 2, 3, 4, and 5. In the Nugget series versus the Lakers, they had 9 turnovers, 13, 14, and 13 against a Lakers defense that doesn't even force turnovers. Minnesota's defense does force turnovers. In Denver's 2 losses versus Minnesota this season, they combined for 29 total turnovers, 16 in one game, 13 in the other. Maybe what's more important is Minnesota has the clear athletic advantage in this series. I think Anthony Edwards solidifies himself as a superstar in this series. He's 22 years old. He can do everything on both ends of the floor, can make any type of shot. And as good as he is offensively, I'm actually more impressed with him defensively. He steps up and takes any defensive assignment, and he's been winning it. Now, of course, everything I've said so far is making a strong case for Minnesota, but just to be clear, I do believe they deserve to be the underdog here in this series. And probably my biggest concern for Minnesota is the mental edge Denver holds. Jokic is so savvy, has such a high game IQ. He could easily get the Minnesota Bigs in foul trouble in the first 8 minutes of a game and take one or both of them out of the game completely. And it's not just Joker either. The Nuggets as a team are on another level with their IQ and their ability to execute game plans. It's not clear to me how well the T-Wolves will hold up in like a chess match with the Nuggets, making game-to-game adjustments, especially with T-Wolves head coach Finch potentially not even going to be on the court or the sidelines. Also, I can't help but think back to last year's series between these two teams and how Minnesota was forced to double-team Jokic because of how bad he was abusing Gobert. But this video is why I like Minnesota. I also have a strong opinion on the total in Game 1 of this series and already posted it as a best bet in the Discord. And if you want access to all the bets I make, plus all the educational topics, you can become a member of the Betting Network Discord. There's over 400 members all working together to make better, all-around, more well-informed bets. The link to join is in the description below this video. You can join for free, but you'll have limited access, or you can become a pro member and get full access to all the channels, features, and tools within the Discord. I charge $50 for 90 days. If you don't have the time to hang around in the Discord and cook up bets, the next best thing is to check out my fan base's storefront and subscribe to a package. This will get you bets sent to you via text alert when I make the bets. My fan base's link is also in my bio. Making money betting sports is hard. I say it all the time. Why do it alone when you can join a network that will help you guide you in the right direction? Any questions, just comment below or DM me on any of my social media platforms. That's all I got for this one. Until next time, may all the refs